Hi, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It might be late morning for you guys, late afternoon, or early evening, depending on where you're tuning from. I want to welcome you to this training and thank you so much for actually joining today. I'm Nina Tolentino. I'm your Senior Marketing Director. And today we're actually going to train on mastering your emotions, on how to become successful in this business. But more importantly, this is something that you could also apply in your daily lives. But from a business standpoint, it's also very healthy and crucial and beneficial in order for you to build a successful business. So it's very ironic, actually, that that I'm training on mastering your emotions when I myself is on an emotional roller coaster. But you know what? Let's wing it, or let me take a crack at it, right? So mastering your emotions, why is that extremely important? Well, before we open up the training, it's extremely important in this business because we're in the people business, right? We're constantly building rapport, whether with the warm market or the cold market. So it's extremely important that you know how to connect. But one thing I want to start with basically is, besides mastering your emotions, you actually have to also control your mind, right? Because the mind is a powerful thing. It will actually say or do what you think for it to say or do. So it's extremely powerful. So when you say you can, or you say you can't, or I will, or I will not, guess what? Either way, you're right. So you have to be extremely careful on what you lead your mind to believe in, or to say or do, right? Because basically your thoughts, right, will control your decisions, and your decisions will actually control your actions, and your actions will control your results, and your results will control your destiny. And guess what? Your destiny will define who you are and who you will become. So you gotta actually choose wisely. So let's start with why we should master our emotions, right? And we talked about the mind is a powerful thing. So it is no secret, basically, that everyone wants to be successful, correct? Who doesn't want to be successful? But there's a science to the recipe of success. It doesn't happen overnight. It is perfectly okay to wish to be successful. But the question you want to ask yourself is, are your wishes congruent with your actions, right? They have to be congruent. If you wish to be successful, there's a saying that says some people dream of things while others actually wake up and work hard at it, right? And so extremely important how you put that congruent with your wishes. There's so many components to success. And it takes, number one is it takes a lot of discipline. You got to have a lot of discipline, but more importantly, you got to have the burning desire to win, to be successful, to stay on course, to have that strong mental toughness, to be able to stay on course until successful, to do whatever it takes until you become successful. A lot of things, the successful people that we see, we don't see the backstage. We only see reports on Forbes magazine, right? So-and-so is successful. We see all the end result, but we actually don't see the process. That's never advertised. In our particular business, we are more prone to rejection. So a lot of times you see my end result, but you didn't see my 10 years of what I went through on rejections, how I'm able to overcome that, to learn from that, and how I'm able to digest that, right? And that way I can perfect or course correct myself for future appointments. So extremely important. But everything starts, in order for you to master your emotions, you got to control your emotions. Today we will kind of try to master that, have a little bit of fun, right? And we can apply that with our daily lives. When I say daily lives, you can apply that through your spouse, your partner, your children, right? Your parents, your friends, your loved ones, your colleagues, right? Because once you've mastered your emotion, what you're going to find out at the end, once you've totally, truthfully, honestly mastered it, is you become sweeter. You become a nicer person. You actually bring out the best in you. You're kinder, you're more affectionate, you're more thoughtful, you're more forgiving. A lot of things that takes a lot of practice is all kind of going to be in this training. So I'm actually excited to kind of wing this with you and take a crack at it, right? Full disclosure though, right? Mastering your emotions to apply it in your daily lives and basically from a business standpoint, guess what? Is totally different from mastering your emotions when it comes to the matters of the heart, right? And I smile about this because I learned the hard way that the heart has a mind of its own, right? It cannot be controlled. It cannot be tamed. You cannot tell it what to do, right? And when you actually make decisions based on your heart, you actually start to do stupid things that you would normally not do when you think from your head. So I'm going to try to leave that alone. That's obviously something that I haven't mastered. I'm learning and relearning and hopefully learn it fast, right? So anyways, there's a science or recipe to success. So let's dive into it, right? It starts with controlling your emotions, right? So I want you guys to get a piece of paper, a pen. Let's have a little bit of fun, right? I'm going to ask you a series of 22 questions. It's going to be number one, your negative reaction. Number two, your positive reaction and how you act based on how you feel when you're faced with a certain situation, right? So let's do number one right now. Let me give you an example. Do you see obstacles, adversities, and roadblocks as a problem, or do you actually see it as an opportunity to learn and grow, right? Which one is it, one or two, a problem or an opportunity to learn or grow? So I've been asked many times by numerous people, and they ask me, how do you handle your problems? You got so much on your plate. How are you able to cope, right? And I just kind of smile because every time I'm faced with a problem, I actually don't look at it as a problem. I look at it as a challenge, as an opportunity to grow. I like learning. I like growing. I like to learn from other people. I think there's so much more that you can learn in this life. And so I just don't think of problems as a problem or roadblocks or adversities as a problem. So number two, are you a positive person who tries to see the bright side in every situation? Or do you think negative outcome first, right? So what do I mean by that? Do you think of the worst first before you think of the best outcome, right? I always try to think of the bright possibilities, the best outcome, rather than thinking of a negative outcome of any particular situation. I would rather die trying than not try at all, right? Number three, do you get angry and frustrated over a bad situation, or do you believe that in every bad situation, something good will actually come out of it? Which one is it for you, one or two? Number four, do you help only when it's convenient for you, or maybe there's something in it for you? Or do you help even when it means you have to sacrifice and there's absolutely nothing for you, nothing to gain, right? Which one are you? I'm definitely the second one, right? I willingly help, and I never expect anything in return. I just, it's been something my mom had taught me, and I bring it down and teach that to my kids as well. Number five, are you quick to judge? When someone says or does something, right? Or do you believe that do you judge them automatically, or do you believe that there's a logical reason why, and wait for that person to actually explain and state their case, right? Before you pass your judgment. So which one are you? And then number six, by nature, are you a giver or are you a taker? I'm certainly hoping you're a giver. God, to be able to give without expecting anything in return is actually something so priceless that money can't buy. So definitely work on being a giver. Number 7, are you selfless and think of others first before you? Or are you self-centered and always think of what's in it for you, right? And then number 8, are you a doer or are you a taker? Let me just adjust my camera a little bit, sorry. Are you a doer or are you a taker, right? I mean, I've already touched earlier, some people dream of things while others actually wake up and work hard at it. Number 9, are you humble or are you arrogant? And number 10, are you polite and discreet so you don't hurt anyone's feelings? I remember as I was growing up, my mom had always told me, when you open your mouth, before something comes out of your mouth and roll out of your tongue, I want to make sure that you think about it 100 times before you say it, so you don't hurt anyone's feelings. So I grew up doing that, practicing that, because I never want to hurt my mom's feelings. And you know, I grew up that way, and I teach that to my kids as well. So are you polite and discreet so you don't hurt anyone's feelings? Or do you have a tendency to be blunt or direct to the point, right? Which may sometimes make you appear as being rude. There's nothing wrong with that, being blunt and direct to the point. I kind of don't like people beating around the bush, you know. You tell me as it is and I'll make necessary adjustments, right? Number 11, are you willing to sacrifice and to help someone in need? Or do you prefer not, because you don't want to be inconvenienced, right? Number 12, do you smile, or are you generally a serious person, or do you frown a lot, right? I think it takes more, a lot less energy to smile, and a lot more energy to frown and have a serious face, right? Number 13, very important question, by the way. If you feel strongly about something, are you a risk taker? Are you willing to put everything on the line and risk it all for that chance? Whatever it is that you want to do, it could be from a personal standpoint, or it could be from a business standpoint, right? Are you willing to lay it all on the line, take a risk, right? To be able to have that chance? Or do you prefer to play it safe and miss out on a chance of a lifetime? 1 or 2. Number 14, are you a flexible person and can be compatible with anyone, because you have a willingness to make a change, basically? Or are you stubborn and pretty much set in your ways? Definitely, I'm a very flexible person. There's no one in my life that I haven't been able to get along with. I think many of you know how, you know, Herbie was a difficult man, not easy to get along with. But you know, I was flexible with that, and we lasted for 37 years, right? So kudos. Number 15, are you a mentor or do you prefer to be a follower, right? Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with either or, right? Because in order for you to become a mentor or a leader, you need to be first a good follower, because there is no way that you can lead someone or a group of people, right, without knowing how to follow first. And then number 16, do you practice what you preach and prefer to lead by example, or do you pretend and don't walk the talk? Which one are you, 1 or 2? Number 17, do you easily forgive, understanding that no one's perfect, or do you look for revenge and hold grudges? So certainly holding grudges is not healthy, right? I think once you understand that life is not perfect, your household is not perfect. You can't have a perfect wife. You can't have a perfect partner, a perfect husband, a perfect business, or a perfect business partner, right? Life will tend to be a little bit easier because you're not looking for perfection. You're actually a little bit more real, right? Number 18, do you follow instructions willingly and absorb constructive criticism? Or do you actually get offended and become very defensive, right? Number 19, Do you plan in advance, right? Do you plan your day, your week, your year, right? If you're like me, I plan my life, right? I'm just that way. I smile about it because I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning. I do my meditation and I plan my day, right? I actually plan my life. I always want to know what I'm up against. And sometimes I'm misunderstood because people feel that I'm always in a rush to do something. Actually, no. Everything has to be in perspective with me. So I'm easily misunderstood in that area. Number 20, are you punctual and always on time, or do you tend to be late, right? Most of the time and not care about it. Number 21, are you considerate and understanding, or you just don't care, right? Number 22, do you keep your promises and your commitment? When you make a promise, do you keep it? Or it's no big deal to you when you cancel on someone or when you don't keep your promises? Which one are you, one or two? So those are some of the questions that I want you guys to answer in order for you to master some of the emotions that's actually necessary for us to apply in our daily lives, and most especially in this type of business, right? So I want you to note reaction, right? Reaction number one could be your strengths. Those are your positive side. So I want you to look at all the 22 questions, which ones that you actually answered positively. And those are the areas that you don't need improvement. We don't need to touch on that. That just simply means that you have mastered that emotion, right? Then number two is basically to honestly work on things that you need to work on. Those are the negative areas of your brain waves on how you think, how you react on certain things, depending on the situation or your mood, right? Now, you know how they say it takes 21 days or 21 times to master anything, right? So obviously you can't do this overnight. And obviously I don't really expect any of you to score 100% on this one. I know it took me years of practice to actually perfect all of this 22 questions to become a better person, to be more affectionate, to be more caring, to be able to give what I could give without any reservation, right? To be kind, to be loving, to be thoughtful. All of that comes into play, not just in the business. What I love about it is it comes into play when it comes to your life, right, as a whole. So I want you to come back 60 to 90 days and reread the questions. And the goal is for you to be able to answer everything with a positive reaction, irregardless of your mood, irregardless of how you normally react, right? And once you've actually answered positively, guess what? You have successfully mastered your emotions, which is so crucial, so beneficial in running any business, not just the finance world, right? The financial world. What do I want you guys to get out of this? I know most of you attend my training because I've been very transparent to all of you guys. I don't sugarcoat anything. I share a lot of my hard life experiences in order for me to stress a point. And that way you guys, if faced with the same predicament, you're able to actually know how to cope based on what you've learned from me. So it's no secret. For those of you that know me, you know that the road I've taken and the cards that's been dealt to me has been difficult. My journey has been pretty rough. So, you know, I don't remember, if you remember 2 weeks ago, I talked about you're given one life to live. Life is all about choices, and the choices you make today will actually determine or define who you are and who you will become. So you're only one choice, one decision away, be it good or bad, right, to change the course of your lifetime. So let's talk about that. We're talking about me and how I'm able to cope. I've been flooded with calls in the past from when my daughter died, when Herbie died, my father died, right? My stepmom died, all in a short period of time. how do I do it, right? How do I do it from the beginning? How do I do it in the middle? And how am I coping now on a daily basis? Basically, it's just one day at a time. There's no um, there's no secret. There's no shortcut. I know one thing. If I could be perfectly transparent with you guys, when my daughter was diagnosed with cancer, I found out it was terminal, and she had 6 months or less to live. I actually died before her. Um, for the first time in my life, I wasn't in control of the situation. I find myself down on my knees just almost every day. My daughter is such a strong woman. We come from a line of strong women, right? And I raised my two kids, two daughters, to be extremely strong, that we were not allowed to cry during this time. I couldn't cry in front of her. She doesn't want the pity. So I have to cry behind her or on my drive home, right? But it was just so extremely difficult for me. And but I had to take it one day at a time. And how do I do it? Really, sometimes you have a choice, right? You got a choice. And sometimes I feel when I'm lonely or I feel empty, I feel like I've accumulated enough hurt to last me a lifetime, right? But when I think with my good head, right, rather than think of my heart, what I feel in my heart, um, I always go back to, you're given one life to live. God gave me one life to live, and I'm supposed to live that. And I have a choice. Yes, definitely have a choice for number one. I can sit down in a corner, feel sorry for myself, cry every day, and wither away and waste the life that I've been given. I can certainly do that. Certainly, my journey has been difficult, to say the least, right? But I simply chose to do the other way, to go the other way, to continue to thrive, to make my kids proud, despite of make my mom proud, my sisters and my brother, right? To be a perfect, good example of how life must go on, how you should continue to thrive, regardless of the circumstance in your life. So another thing too is I love life. I love life. I simply don't want to stop living. Um, I'm actually looking for new friendships, right? A new beginning. I want to be able to live, to laugh, to be able to love again, right? And ultimately, I'm now in the fourth quarter of my life, and I want to be actually happy. Seriously, truthfully happy. That could be my dying wish, right? But most importantly, I don't know if you guys know, we all have a book to write, right? Uh, I'm not done writing my book, sharing my story. Everybody knows that when I say you have a book to write, your life is a story. And so I think you'll agree with me when I say I believe everyone you meet in your life will have a part in your story, will have a part in your book, right? While some may take a chapter or multiple chapters, just the way Herbie has taken in my life, has occupied multiple chapters of my book, right? Others will occupy maybe a paragraph or two, right? Some maybe a few sentences or one. And most people that you didn't actually open your door to might just be ending up on scribbled notes in the margins of your book, right? But I still believe till this day, as a hopeless romantic, that one day I will meet someone who will become so integral in my life that I will put their name in the title of my book. So I am looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm ever going to meet that person, right? But I'm hoping if it happens, that's great, right? If it doesn't happen, well, at least I tried. So one thing you have to remember in all that is you gotta be able to want to take risk, to be able to try, right? Rather than not try at all. Because I don't want to have to wonder my whole life what could have been if I didn't do certain things, whether it be in a personal standpoint or from a business standpoint. It's just important not to be afraid to fail, not to be afraid to take risk. It's extremely difficult to handle life. There's going to be many adversities, many roadblocks that's going to come your way, and it's going to hit you like a brick road. It's going to hit you when you least expect it, and it's going to come unannounced. And one of the reasons that I mentor on this type of like emotion, mastering your emotions, controlling your mind, is I want you guys to be prepared, because it's not a matter of if it's going to happen to you, it's a matter of when. And when that does happen, I want to make sure you're totally prepared, and that way it doesn't break you, right? Most people thought I should be broken. Yeah, I am broken, but I choose not to be broken. See, life is all about choices. It's a matter of what choice you go to, right? A lot of people can't spell me out, can't figure me out, because I'm one of a kind. I actually have I'm just different from a normal person. Let's just put it that way. And I'm hoping that through my life experiences and through all the teachings that I've shared with you guys, that you can also toughen up for the bad days. It's okay to have a bad day. I get bad days. I'm not depressed or anything, but it's normal to have a bad day. And when you have a bad day, guess what? You have a tendency to feel empty, to feel depressed. That's perfectly okay, right? What's important is you're able to get back up. It's also okay to make mistakes in your life, new mistakes. Not when I say new mistakes, it's okay to make mistakes, new mistakes each time. Learn from that, right? What's not okay is basically making the same mistake over and over and over again. So I want to end with that one. But anyways, for those of you that are in my team, I'm actually going to get a hold of you guys and figure out which are the negative side of your emotions that we need to work on, so you can actually perfect that, and that way you can do better in this business, right? And for those of you that are not on my team, you're more than welcome to actually reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to help you guys. But please do make sure that your mentor or your senior marketing director is advised to that, and that way I don't step on anybody's toes. But I want to thank everyone again for joining tonight or joining today, wherever you're from. And I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys. And thank you for those of you, by the way, that had reached out to me and during my dark times, dark moments, reached out to me and called me and said a prayer and think about me. I really, from the bottom of my heart, deeply appreciate you guys. But I want everyone to know, don't worry, I'm actually okay. I'm actually okay. I prepared my whole life for this. For whatever's happening, I've prepared for it. I guess when it happened, you can say I wasn't totally prepared, but I'm glad that halfway, somewhere along the line, I prepared for something like this that could happen. So I wanna let you guys know that I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm coping well, one day at a time. So love you guys. Good night and have a great weekend. Bye.